Everyone has played Connect 4. It's a family game that requires you to put stones strategically into slots, trying to win the game. It is also formerly known as this, but most likely you heard Connect 4. The objective of the game is to connect 4 of your pieces in a line. You can win vertically, horizontally, or diagonally. When I first began with this project, I decided to count how many times I can fill up the board while red was going first. And as I was going through, I was counting every single one, and after I got to when you put 2 tiles in, I realized that this was going to be a lot more cumbersome than what I thought it was going to be. Then I turned to a computer, trying to use Sage Math that we all showed earlier this year, to create a program that would count all the tiles for me on the 6x7 plot. But that was also pretty hard to create too because there's so many different factors that goes into it. And also I'm not a very good programmer. I then realized that counting all the ways you can fill up this board was irrelevant to what I was truly trying to do, but I was still interested in figuring it out, so I just looked it up because I figured someone probably solved it, and well, it's over 4 trillion. I then turned my focus to one specific website with one specific Connect 4 game, trying to figure out the way it would play against me if I always went first. So I then would put a tile in and just map out where they would put the next tile. But as I soon realized, is for some reason the computer has this fast fixation on putting its first tile in the middle, and I got me thinking, why is that? So I started looking into it. What I decided to do is I decided to start playing the middle. As I went through, they would put their tile on top of mine, and what I figured out is when I put mine there, they would put theirs right on top of mine again. So I decided to put it top again. But for some reason, he would always put it play off the side. He would never finish the stack. As I realized, it's kind of hard to sound intelligent, tell you how the computer would stack tiles upon your tiles when you played it there. But it still got me thinking, why did it want to play the middle so badly, and then why would it play off? So what I decided to do is I decided to map out the grid so that each square had its own value. So as I mapped it out, it looked a little something like this. So I would play the game, looking at the way the grid was mapped out, with each square having its own value. What I soon realized is the computer was chasing me. It was trying to figure out a way to gain control, because since I went first, I had control of the game. And then after that, I realized that the game was all about odd and even play. So I decided for this next part of the video that it would be easier to show you on the 6x7 grid than actually doing the voiceover with the pictures. So, as I mentioned earlier, if you play first, you want to play right in the middle. That will be your best opportunity to play. But what I mean by it's an odd and even type game is that you have rows. There's 6 rows going up. You have an odd, even, odd, even, odd, even, all the way through. And with this odd and even strategy in mind, that means that the first player is best going to win if he has an odd row to play to win. And the second player, which is red, will have a best opportunity if he has an opportunity to win in an even row. And that's because, well, as you guessed it, when the first player plays, there's an odd number of chips in it. When the second player plays, there's an even number of chips in it. Also keep in mind, when you're filling up rows, you also have the columns. And as you fill them up, the columns will go straight up and down. If you're the first player, you will have to play next with making a new column if red keeps stacking them on top of you, which if he does, he's a jerk. But besides that fact, let's get back to this part of the grid. If yellow comes here, he plays like that. Red would most likely play here, just because you want to block him from having a two-way threat on you. But what red essentially just did was seal a win for him, almost, because he's got a win right here in row 4, column B, because it's an even row, and all he's got to do is work his way there, because he's going to get that square no matter what. So when you get to this point, most likely, yellow will play here, because it's always best to play in the center because it gives you more options. If you're red, you play here. And if yellow's playing stupid, he would play here, giving red the advantage here. And essentially, what just happened is red just sealed a win, because he can win here in the fourth, like I said, or here in the second. And it will happen because of odd and even strategy. So as we play through, let's just finish out this game and play through. We'll go here. That's the yellow piece. Here. There. There. That would play there. So then red play there. Yellow would play right here because he has to try to defend there, which now yellow's playing way too defensively, so he's going to lose either way. So you play there, there, and now since it's red's turn, he's going to play here, essentially just making the win, because the board is now even, because there's even space, there's even amount of squares left in each column. So it's just basically a waiting game. So since now the even board, if red realizes it, which he should since he's been playing this way the whole time, he should now realize that all he has to do is just stack yellow. So if yellow plays here, boom, there we go. He's just going to keep going. And notice how red is going to fill out each column. Like so. But just to save time, I'm not going to fill out the last column. What's essentially going to happen is the other's going to he would probably already filled this one out, but he's going to end up having to play here, giving red the win there. Unless, well, like I said earlier, unless yellow would have played here, red would have played here, and won there. Won right there, even though you can't see. Or he won right here if he would have played there. So giving yourself the even advantage if you're the second player. And now I'll show you how you win if you're the first player with the odd one. Back to the beginning. Yellow always play in the middle. Then red will want to play on top. So if yellow's going to play smartly, he would play right there on top, trying to make red make a decision. Which red would play there, going through. I'm just going to skip through the video now because you probably don't want to see me fill up the board. So with the board all filled out, yellow has sealed a win in the odd row right here because of these three, with that row being open still. Since it's yellow's turn and it's still the odd player, all he has to do to win is play there, and he will win. And essentially that's because wherever red plays, yellow will follow. But that's red. But just so we don't waste time, we're just going to keep going through, and we're just going to fill up this, showing you that yellow will win because of its odd color, which right here, it won in the odd row because of the odd value it has. And through multiple times of play, what I figured out is that the first player will win every time and has to play perfectly. If he plays right there, you will win every single time. And I'll show you what a perfect play board would look like. This is what a perfect game would look like. If yellow would played right in the center where I told you earlier, he would win in the top second row over there on the left. He would have forced to win in the 41st move because that's exactly how the game would have played out.